Join Carol Davies on Global Voice Radio, the host of Only the Best for You. Be a change maker and unlock the secret to your best life.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my podcast, Only the Best for You, here on Global Voice Radio. My name is Carol Davies of the Passion Motivator Coaching Company. I'm so pleased each week to share with you the best information and speakers about how you can be a change maker to make the world and yourself the best you can be. Today, I'd like to talk with you on a topic that has long intrigued me. How can you develop your unique charisma? What are the steps you can take to be more personally magnetic? Have you ever been intrigued by the concept of charisma? We've all felt drawn to or attached to certain people. What is this special quality that they exhibit? It has often been called a compelling attractiveness or charm that can inspire devotion in others. Other common synonyms for charisma are charm, presence, aura, force of personality, strength of character, individuality. Do you possess charisma, or do you think only other people have it? What does it mean when we say someone has a presence or an aura about themselves? When someone walks into a room and they just ooze confidence, enthusiasm, and self-assurance. This type of person often doesn't have to even say anything or do anything special. Yet they automatically draw attention from whoever they are near. We find ourselves thinking, there's just something about that person, but I can't explain it. Throughout the centuries, charisma has been seen as a mysterious energy that some people have, a magnetism that draws people to them. It has been considered an intangible force, a gift that certain individuals are born with. However, charisma can be described as the ability to influence others positively by connecting with them emotionally, intellectually, and perhaps even spiritually. In a very few words, it's what makes people like you, and when they don't even know much about you. It can exist at the level of mass movements, such as those led by politicians and evangelists, and you can also find it just in the ordinary routine encounters of daily life. I like to use the word personal magnetism interchangeably with charisma. The attracting power of a magnet doesn't become evident unless there's something to be attracted. And charisma, too, is a kind of energy feedback loop. When you connect with people, energy passes both ways if it's a powerful synergy. The energy builds and builds. And when that happens, both you and those around you feel exhilarated and truly alive. So, do you believe that you have charisma or personal magnetism? Let's find out. I recently read an excellent book by psychologist Amy Cuddy, and it was called Presence. Bring your boldest self to your biggest challenges. She does a wonderful job explaining the phenomenon of charisma and how we can bring it out in ourselves. Charisma, like aura, is a form of personal power. Ultimately, it comes down to how you carry yourself and the atmosphere you bring with you wherever you go. It stems from truly knowing yourself, believing in yourself, and trusting yourself in the moment. Many people try to fake confidence or enthusiasm by self-consciously changing themselves. We learn about confident and dominant body language, so we try to mimic it during a date, a job interview, or a public presentation. However, faking confidence in this way can often backfire on us. People are good. So when they see someone puffing up their chest and standing as straight as a board, we easily can discover that this person is trying to portray something that they aren't. If you truly don't believe you have magnetism or a certain type of charisma, then people will find you out. Having personal presence or charisma is effortless. It doesn't require acting or forcing ourselves to be something we're not. In fact, it's precisely that type of endless self-monitoring that takes us out of the moment and can make us appear phony, manipulative, or foolish. Having presence or charisma allows you to tap into inner resources you already have. It brings out your best and most sincere self. It creates a powerful aura around you that anyone can pick up on. And this aura can be developed. One thing that's important is to affirm your core values. There are a number of exercises we can do to build this inner presence and feel more comfortable in ourselves. But it's important to know what is truly important in your life so that you then can tap into this and be authentic. Trying to be something you're not, as I've said, makes you appear to be a phony, and this will repel people. Now, in one study, participants were instructed to write a short paragraph about a core value they hold dear or about a neutral topic. Participants were then asked to do something known as a trier social stress test that was designed to maximize their stress and anxiety levels. During this social stress test, individuals were told to prepare a 5-minute presentation for a group of judges. The key feature of the test was that the judges were instructed to keep a neutral face and offer back absolutely zero feedback, verbal or nonverbal, during the presentation. This often created a very stressful situation for the presenter. Imagine performing for a group of people and they do nothing but stare at you with a blank face. No positive feedback, no negative feedback. They just stare at you as if you stumbled into the room accidentally and they have no idea why you're there. To increase stress levels further, the presenters can create preparation materials like notes or an index cards, but then the materials are accidentally lost before the presentation, so the presenter was left without them. So stress levels were measured before and after this, usually by measuring cortisol levels in the body, as well as monitoring heart rates. The interesting finding of these studies was that individuals who were instructed to write about their core values beforehand were much better at adapting to these stress levels, sometimes experiencing no increase in cortisol levels at all. As it turns out, being able to affirm your core values gives individuals a comfortable background that allows them to better navigate through these highly stressful situations. It's like having a set of self-affirmations that have positive effects in a wide range of circumstances. You have something in your inner core that you can draw on. When you affirm your core values, you remind yourself who you are and what you stand for, and no one can take that from you. This helps provide you with an undeniable presence or aura that is independent of social judgments. Anyone can practice this exercise on their own. Just take 15 minutes to write about a core value that really matters to you and helps define you as a person. It could be anything: intelligence, kindness, hard work, creativity, or whatever else sounds authentic to you. Your values are always yours. Not even a ruthless dictator could take them away from you. This is why affirming these values to yourself can be so powerful. They focus your attention on what really matters to you and remind you what type of person you really are. There are quite a few psychological benefits to feeling powerful. Before we go into more ways that you can build a presence and a powerful aura, I'd like to point out that there are two types of power in this world: social power and personal power. Social power is defined externally. It usually includes things like our social status, our job, our wealth, our good looks, our relationships, and our material possessions. Having these things can certainly make life easier, and they can make you feel more powerful, but we often have limited control over them. However, your personal power is defined internally. It's about how you feel about yourself and how you see yourself. Do you consider yourself a person who deserves happiness or success? Do you consider yourself a person that adds value to the world? These are all based on your internal valuations of yourself. All feelings of power can have huge psychological benefits. For example, in one study, researchers primed people to feel more powerful or less powerful by assigning them to a superior or a subordinate position. Individuals who were primed to feel more powerful did a lot better on a range of cognitive tests. When people are primed by researchers to feel powerful, those who feel more powerful tend to perform better on tests that measure their cognitive ability, problem-solving skills, spatial tasks, and creativity. It's also been shown to reduce stress and anxiety, which often take up our mental resources and block our ability to bring out our best self. Feeling powerful is important for several reasons. And while social power can be difficult to change in the real world, personal power is something that we have much more flexibility to change in our lives. So it's very important to know that how you see yourself can affect your sense of power and how other people see you. For example, in your body language. This gives people feedback about how you really are. Our brain is constantly paying attention to the signals our body is sending to it and responding to it in kind, not just through our facial expressions, but also through our body posture and gestures. Using this knowledge, the author Amy Cuddy, who I referred to earlier, came up with the term power posing. The basic idea is to find a high power posture and mimic it for 2 minutes. Studies show that this can not only increase feelings of power, but also affect us on a hormonal level by decreasing cortisol and increasing testosterone. There are various high power postures, and there's various low power postures. Types of high power postures are such things as sitting at the head of the table in a conference room, implying that you're in charge. Sitting in a chair, leaning back with your body expansive, standing with your hands on your hips, standing at a table, leaning on forward, facing people. Low power body language is often termed defensive. You stand in front of people with hands across your chest. You could sit in a chair with your legs and feet crossed and your hands crossed, as though you're defending yourself. You could sit slumped in a chair, not looking at people. So the way you present yourself to people does give them an inkling of how you regard yourself. So if you want to practice having feelings of power and build a more powerful aura, then you need to adopt those types of postures that indicate self-confidence and feeling good about yourself. For example, if you're preparing for an important job interview, you could do a quick power pose for a couple of minutes before going out. Do something like this in front of a mirror. Or if you feel yourself being overwhelmed during an anxious situation, you could always excuse yourself if possible and do a quick power pose before you return to the situation. Also, you can visualize yourself doing a power pose that can have similar effects. This can be convenient if you don't have the time or space to do a so-called power pose for every situation where you might feel stress. Now, another tip that is helpful is changing your breathing. Our breathing is very much the anchor of our existence, which makes it a very powerful thing to pay attention to. While most of our breathing is done involuntarily, we do have voluntary control over it, and we can often use this control to change our state of mind in many ways. Breath is such a wonderful way to reduce your physiological activation. Understanding that you can control your breathing is a first step in understanding how you can control your anxiety, that you have the tools to do it yourself. When your mind is racing, when something unexpected happens in a social situation, when you don't know what to do, you know you can calm yourself by controlling your breathing. Now, this makes perfect sense. Think about how your breathing changes when you feel stressed or anxious. Often it becomes faster and shallower. Now, think about how your breathing changes when you feel relaxed. It feels slower and deeper. What if you could consciously change your breathing to change your mental state? For example, try to make yourself feel emotions such as joy, anger, and fear, and then write down exactly how you felt while you were breathing. For example, with panic, you tend to take short, fast, shallow breaths. With anger, you take longer, forced breaths. If you're calm, you take slow, steady breaths. And if you're happy, you do long inhalations and long exhalations of breath. Try it for yourself. Try breathing fast and short breaths and notice how you become more stressed and anxious. Or try breathing really slow and deep and notice how you become more relaxed and comfortable. Our breath is always with us, so it's often one of the easiest and most convenient ways to calm ourselves down or psych ourselves up in any given moment. If you can master your breathing, you will have much more control over your mind and the aura that you send out to others. Now, here are some tips to increase your personal charisma or magnetic presence. A winning image starts with a good self-image. A good self-image doesn't follow success, it precedes it. Someone saddled with a poor self-image may fool some people some of the time, but eventually we'll fail unless we come to grips with our basic self-image. Many of us carry around an image that isn't really congruent with the facts. You could be holding a negative self-image that you subtly communicate to everyone you meet. If you feel that you're too tall or overweight or unattractive in some way, you'll lack confidence and others will catch on. Or it's possible you could have an overly positive image of yourself. You may think you look terrific when in fact you're a sloppy dresser, or you could be 20 pounds overweight, or you're badly in need of a haircut or a makeover. In either case, honest analysis by yourself and perhaps by those closest to you is needed, because your image is important and you can do something about it. To find out how others see you, get some photographs or videotapes taken of yourself when you feel you're looking your best. Specify close-ups and then study them carefully. What do you see that you like or you don't like? Then ask your friends for their candid opinions on not only how you look, but on how you carry yourself and how you come across verbally. Promise you won't take offense, and don't. Then ask them to tell you about your image in terms of knowledge and enthusiasm, as well as sincerity and integrity. Your friends can be a good source of information about how you're really coming across to others in the world. Now, second tip is seek winners, avoid losers. Attitudes are contagious. So nurture your emotional well-being by choosing friends who genuinely want you to succeed and who encourage you. Also, ask yourself about your surroundings. How is your house or apartment decorated? What about your office? Is the atmosphere or environment around you drab or energizing? This is within your power to change at any point. If you're somewhere and your environment makes you feel sad or dragged down, then you're not going to be feeling very confident or emoting, energy that people want to come and be around. Another way you can do that to change your attitude is to read inspirational and motivational books or listen to a happy music. Make it a point to go to funny movies or watch a television program that makes you laugh. Consciously reduce your exposure to the negative, whether it's gossip from coworkers, violence in the media, or pessimism in your own thoughts. Also, make fitness a lifestyle, not a chore. This is tip number 3. You don't need an expensive club membership or a cross-country ski machine to maintain a body that exudes vitality. And it's vitality that really is attractive to people. Here's ways that you can get more physical vitality. Walk up and down the stairs to your high-rise office or apartment. Ride a bike to the neighborhood store to pick up a quart of milk. Skip the cart and get some real exercise while golfing. Take a nature hike instead of watching a nature film on television. Meet a friend that you really like to connect with. Then go for a walk around the neighborhood rather than sitting over a cup of coffee. You'll feel much more energized and your body will thank you for it. Here's tip number 4. Listen. Really listen to one person for one day. Choose one person you could relate to better. Commit to listening to them, not just hearing them, for one day. After each meeting, ask yourself, did I really make an effort to go beyond superficialities? Did I observe verbal, vocal, and visual clues? Did I note what was not being said as well as what was said? Once you've gotten into this habit of nudging yourself to listen better, extend this exercise to successive days, then to other acquaintances as well. Listening well is a gift you can give to others. It'll cost you nothing, but it may be invaluable to them. It also makes you attractive as a person that they want to come and talk with or get advice from, perhaps. This is all part of charisma. Here's tip number 5. Create and use an active listening attitude. Learning to be an active listener is like learning to be an active jogger. It takes effort. You start little by little and work upward. It's as much a state of mind as a physical activity. Besides, as you work longer and get better, it pays ever-increasing benefits. An active listening attitude can help you tremendously in your poor listening habits. Exercising such an attitude means appreciating that listening is as powerful as speech. What someone says to you is just as critical as what you have to say to them. Realizing that listening saves time and effort. Those who listen create fewer mistakes, fewer misunderstandings, and fewer false starts. Understanding that listening to everybody is important and worthwhile. Look for something that you can learn from each and every person you meet. Here's tip number 6. Focus on your strengths. Too often we try to force ourselves to become detailed people when we're not, or to climb management ranks when what we enjoy and excel at is work perhaps at the staff level. Not everyone is meant to be a manager, and not everyone is detail-oriented. But that doesn't mean that you're not a great person. You just need to know what you're really, really good at. Ask yourself, what am I really good at? What do I enjoy most? Write these down. And think about a mission and goals related to those answers. Tip number 7, identify and manage your weaknesses. While concentrating on your strengths, do all you can to keep your weaknesses from dragging you down, either in terms of performance or just in the sense of taking up a lot of your time with fretting. If you're great at sales, but terrible at filling out reports, for example, maybe you ought to hire a part-time administrative assistant or swap duties with another employee so you'll have the time to sell and formulate your ideas about what to sell. Tip number 8, write a mission statement. You don't have to do that just for a business plan. It's important to know what you want to do and get out of life. Answer the question in writing. What is it that I would really, really like to do that would utilize my strengths and make a difference? Don't worry at first about the logic or how this mission might be accomplished. It's not a plan, it's an expression of values. Once you've got it, you may want to modify it over the years as your priorities change and as your beliefs change. But in any event, get the mission statement down on paper. Then you can go back to it frequently to figure out how best to achieve it. Once you have tried several ways to increase your confidence and are comfortable with showing people how talented and strong you are, then their perception of you will change. You will start standing out and attracting the people and projects you really want. I truly hope that some of you will find some great takeaways from my talk today. If you want further information or want to talk about more ideas about charisma with me, contact me through my website, www.thepassionmotivator.com, or by email at coachcaroldavies@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. Remember, you can change your life at any time and become the success you want to be. I look forward to connecting with you again next week. Bye now.
Tune in every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern for Only the Best for You with Carol Davies on Global Voice Radio.